Good morning, everybody. I am here to describe our initial experience with this new kid on the block, that is PageNext Produce. We all know ARMD is a leading cause of visual loss, and VEGF levels are known to be higher in this disease. A lot of pivotal trials have been done on this disease with various anti-VEGF molecules, and various treatment regimes are in the work. But there are a lot of unmet needs. First and foremost is trial versus real world experience is totally different. Endpoint of treatment is not very clear in this disease, and which fluid is tolerable. People have differences over this. There are various types of fluid: IRF, SRF, and subretinal fluid, and it has been shown that all fluid is bad for retina. This is what I also believe, and it has been shown in various studies also that better visual outcomes are observed in patients who do not have fluid. Brolucimab, we all know, is the newest kid of anti-VEGFs on the block. It's the smallest of all the anti-VEGFs which are available. If you see this chart, the molecular weight of brolucimab is 26 kilodaltons compared to 149 of bevacizumab and 115 of aflibercept. FDA approved this molecule a couple of years back, and Hawk and Harrier was the pivotal trial, and it showed that the greatest difference in the CST reduction was observed between brolucimab and aflibercept. But immediately after that, there was an alarm. 4% incidence of intraocular inflammation was reported, and this was reported world over, with a lot of papers subsequently appearing in literature, and these are some of the highlights which I have listed here. So, what were our first impressions of using this brolucimab? There was a lot of hesitancy in the beginning. This was one of my first patients which I injected. Patient I initially took was BCVA with very poor vision, and you see with one injection, vision has not improved, but the thickness has gone down. This was my second patient, where you see the detachment, RP detachments have decreased in height, and there is a resolution of sub-RP fluid as well as the IRF. This was the third patient, relatively younger lady, who had this multiple detachments, and she was symptomatic. Even though she had 6/9 vision, I still injected a near normal restoration of this contour on this lady. This lady subsequently required 2 more injections, and the latest follow-up shows a normalized contour with no IRF, no SRF, and no sub-RP fluid also. This gentleman, elderly gentleman, apart from having evidence of ARMD, he had ERM also. But despite that, we gave injection, and this was he already had received 6 injections. You see, all these patients where we injected, they're all, resistant to treatment with multiple injections of aflibercept and ranibizumab. He also required multiple injections, and the latest follow-up shows BCV of 6/12 and marked reduction in all the fluids. So, in initial experience of 9 of these patients showed not much difference in the visual acuity if you see the mean visual acuity of all these patients. But what is noticeable is a drastic reduction of CMT. And this is graphical form showing mean BCVA pre and post, and this is showing mean decrease in central macular thickness. So where are we? One thing is very certain from whatever small series we have is there's a marked drying effect of brolucimab. So how do we apply this in our clinical practice? So what do we do is take a special consent, talk to the patient, talk and talk to the patient. And what we do is patients who are not responding to multiple anti-VEGF injections, we study the trend of CST reduction in BCVA. If it is positive, we continue the previous anti-VEGF injection. But if not, if it is negative, that means either BCVA or CST is not reducing, then we do not hesitate to give choice of brolucimab, explain the risk-benefit ratio, take a written consent. As far as our experience, very initial study is concerned, very small number of patients, but it looks to be better suited for RPEDs and IPCV kind of membranes. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
The series is only 7 patients, sir. Just started now, the newer drug.
It's a newer drug. There was a lot of hesitancy in starting because of marked inflammation and the scare created. Fortunately for us, none of these as of now, this is the series with more than 4 or 5 months of follow-up. But we have now 16 patients on our. But the good thing is, as of now, although we still need more of data, there's no inflammation because I have taken pictures on day 1, day 7, day 15, and every week we have taken. There's no inflammation, no vasculitis, no vascular occlusion. So that is the thing I wanted to highlight, because the world literature says, and there is so much of scare on this molecule, that there is marked inflammation. But I just wanted to highlight, we haven't got this.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Lalit. I think that was very nice presentation. And when you looked at the patients who were treatment naive, what was the thought process of injecting them? Were they because they had very bad other eye, or so those were not the failed cases. So currently also you may have injected more patients with treatment naive. So what is the thought process there?
No, honestly, treatment naive has been only one patient in all these 16. Rest of them have been resistant. Honestly, they today do not have enough guts to start treatment naive on this molecule. In treatment naive, we do prefer the established either ranibizumab or aflibercept. Only one patient, that patient also had poor visual acuity of finger counting 2 meters. I had some guts to start on this, and that patient.
Yeah, so maybe what you're trying to say is that the risk benefit ratio you are assessing, and in the naive patient, maybe the risk we feel is higher because they are safer drugs. And for the patient who has really failed multiple injection treatments and still things are going down, so there we can take that risk.
Absolutely.